Hello guys, it has been a while since I have posted a new episode. I have had a lot going on in my life, but I want to continue doing what I enjoy, so I am going to try to write some more episodes and post them in the coming weeks. Our first episode is Fantastic Poetry to Remember, The Second Coming. This is the poetry of J.P. My poetry is available on www.secondwasteland.wordpress.com. The aftermath of World War witnessed the collapse of several major empires, including the Austro-Hungarian, Russian, German, and Ottoman empires. This collapse led to political instability, territorial disputes, and the reconfiguration of national boundaries. The resulting power vacuum and the rise of new political ideologies, such as communism and fascism, contributed to a climate of political turbulence and uncertainty that permeates Yeats' poem The Second Coming. The poem emerges in the aftermath of this war and its unprecedented scale of destruction, loss of life, and disillusionment. To understand the poem The Second Coming, you have to go back to the trauma of World War I. The war affected society as a whole and its collective psyche, with the trauma and horrors experienced during the war leaving a deep sense of uncertainty and pessimism. It is this atmosphere which finds resonance in Yeats' depiction of crumbling world order. The early 20th century witnessed a profound shift in societal values and cultural paradigms. Its rapid industrialization, urbanization, and technological advancements had brought about a disconnection from traditional beliefs and a sense of alienation. Yeats, who was deeply invested in Irish cultural revival and the preservation of traditional values, grappled with the erosion of cultural and moral foundations. The Second Coming reflects this cultural disillusionment that society struggled to navigate during a rapidly changing landscape. The Second Coming was written amidst the rise of radical political ideologies and social movements that challenged established norms. The Bolshevik Revolution in Russia, the rise of fascism in Italy, and the growing influence of socialist and anarchist movements across Europe signaled a departure from traditional political structures. Yeats' poem captures the anxiety and fear associated with these seismic shifts, reflecting the uncertainty and potential chaos of a world being reshaped by new and often disruptive ideologies. The Second Coming has lasted across the 80-some years since W.B. Yeats' death, perhaps because the uncertainty and potential chaos of his world still remains very much a part of ours. Yeats' captivation of the public mind with the poem does not stop with the now timeless theme, it also has to do with the apocalyptic imagery that vividly and hauntingly pervades the poem. The opening lines of the poem, "Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer," set the stage for the apocalyptic imagery that permeates the rest of the work. The image of the falcon losing its connection to its falconer signifies the breakdown of order and the disintegration of societal norms. The widening gyre, symbolizing a spiraling vortex, represents the growing chaos and disarray of the world. This concept of the gyre in The Second Coming was something that Yeats had developed. It is a symbol representing historical cycles and the eternal recurrence of certain themes and patterns in human history. The gyre imagery appears in several of his poems and plays, signifying the movement of civilizations, the rise and fall of empires, and the cyclical nature of time. The gyre reflects Yeats' belief in the inevitability of historical cycles and the eternal struggle between opposing forces. In fact, he had developed a whole system of symbolism that formed backbone of his poetic universe, infusing his work with depth, meaning, and resonance. His symbolic language draws from Celtic mythology, historical cycles, masks and personas, and transformative imagery. Through his intricate web of symbols, Yeats explores universal themes such as identity, the human condition, and the search for spiritual enlightenment. Decoding Yeats' system of symbolism allows readers to delve into the layers of his poetry, unveiling the profound insights and timeless relevance of his poetic vision. As far as I can tell, W.B. Yeats is more or less unique in this regard. He was a poet that had chosen to look at the world and see deep meaning in the images we put on the page. As a system for improving his ability to write more powerful poetry, it would be hard to deny the power found in his vision of symbolism. On the other hand, Yeats admitted that he had doubts about the adequacy of his own symbolic system, cautioning against an overly dogmatic approach to interpreting poetry. He emphasized the importance of personal experience and intuition in engaging with symbols, stating that the true power of symbolism lies in its ability to evoke individual responses and awaken deeper insights within the reader. As a writer of poetry, there is something to take away here. It was the times and the poet's willingness to view the world through images as symbols that allowed him to find resonance with readers even today. No matter what you write, you had better connect with the reader. Yeats himself had managed to connect to the human psyche through the images of certain natural phenomena. This feat alone makes him one of the greatest poets to ever live. Without further ado, this is W.B. Yeats's The Second Coming, a poem worth remembering. The Second Coming. By William Butler Yeats. Turning and turning in the widening gyre. The falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart, the center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere. The ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. Surely some revelation is at hand. Surely the second coming is at hand. The second coming. Hardly are those words out, when a vast image out of Spiritus Mundi troubles my sight, somewhere in sands of the desert. A shape with lion body and the head of a man. A gaze blank and pitiless as the sun is moving its slow thighs, while all about it real shadows of the indignant desert birds. The darkness drops again, but now I know that 20 centuries of stony sleep were vexed to nightmare by a rocking cradle. And what rough beast, its hour come round at last, slouches towards Bethlehem to be born?